Good afternoon, everybody, and I hope you can hear me fairly well. We're going to have our new moon meditation, and it is going to be the new moon in Virgo. It's not an eclipse this time, but it is a strong emphasis upon the Virgo energy in the Enlightenment decanate, we might say, the decanate belonging to Taurus. I'm very happy to see you all here. Hi there. But you can keep your videos off for the moment, if you'd be so kind. And I'm recording this, and it will be available later. The actual new moon is in just about an hour. And I would say at 11 o'clock and 3 seconds. So we'll have a meditation. It is the Shamballa moon in a certain respect, and it allows us to ground our intentions on the physical plane, especially with a sign like Virgo, which has so much to do with the manifestation of the Christ principle. There are a fair number of us here, and we'll be having also the Vietnam group as well. Anne is here, and she is translating for them. And I won't mention all the names of everybody here, but I'm just happy to see you. So we can do this internal subjective work. One of the things we have to realize is that Earth, in relation to our solar logos, is the base of the spine center. The symbol for Earth, you know, the cross with the circle, is the same as the symbol for the base of the spine. Earth, with its powerful first ray monad, not yet fully activated, relates to the purpose of the solar logos found in the head center, base of the spine and head center. And when there is an eclipse, that particular connection is strongly emphasized. So, although it will be later in this solar system that the monad, the first ray monad of Earth, will emerge, we can begin to think in those terms, and especially about the idea that the will of God, Sanat Kumara, the planetary logos, as we can consider our planetary God, is that love be expressed. And we're just to that point when the second ray soul of our Earth, of our planetary logos, is in process of emerging strongly through much difficulty and much resistance, okay, but still emerging. And the reappearance of the Christ, when we can work for that, we are working in line with the divine will and looking forward to the day when the first ray of will, power, and purpose will emerge as the strongest ray in our particular planet, and that will be especially so during the next solar system. Every one of these new moons is a power emphasis, and especially when an eclipse can occur. This is not such a time. There is no eclipse at this point, but still it is a power point. It is a way of doubling up on the emphasis of the sun and moon. The rising sign will be different depending on where you live, of course. But the moon will not be considered only as the moon. It will be considered as three powerful sacred planets, namely Vulcan, for the etheric physical nature, and Neptune for the emotional nature, veiled by the moon, and even Uranus for some people who are cultivating the occult mind. And through these different planets, the power of Virgo this time, which the sun is conveying due to its alignment with the heart and the head of the great cosmic, the supercosmic logos, the one about whom naught may be said, through that constellation, an ancient constellation, and through its sign, which delivers to us the concentrated influence of the constellation, we will be having a very strong emphasis upon Virgo, along a strong line of will energy. And we know that Virgo is a sign, I want to call it discipleship, yes, but of meticulous attention to the requirements of discipleship. There is a sense in which obstructions have to be purified. And of the three energies coming from Shamballa, namely purification, destruction, and organization, Virgo naturally has a very strong connection to purification and also to the organization, or reorganization, which results when purification is successful. So at first, what I'd like to do before this is part of the meditation and we will begin, is to take this double concentration that we receive at every new moon, and the different planets which rule the etheric, physical, astral, and mental vehicles. And I'd like to have us imaginatively apply that double concentration to getting the instrument into a fit shape. We know that the physical disciplines are much associated with Virgo. But as well, we have the disciplines of the emotional body and the disciplines of the lower mental body and of the entire personality, subservient to the soul. And the meaning of this concentration to soul living itself, which we want to bring down onto the physical plane and render as practical. This is a practical sign after all, and it has the kind of humility it takes to look after the very small things which can make the difference between successful discipleship expression and expression which is not. And ultimately, we will find that Virgo is going to give us a strong inkling into the possibility of answering the riddles of the Sphinx, because it is also going to rule the higher mind, or as it's sometimes called, the son of mind. And when people like ourselves who are aspirants and disciples, when we actually have begun to take the first initiation and entered into the fifth kingdom of nature, our causal body changes its vibratory pitch, which is equivalent to changing subplane. And we will be within what's called the son of mind. So let us try to open the door to those shambolic energies, which really, we're not really equipped to handle them, but some attenuation of those energies can reach us. As we think, let us think of the double influence as it affects our physical body. We'll dwell on that for a few moments. And what can we do to ensure that we can resist negative influences, as the Tibetan tells us, when attention is given to the condition and the cleanliness of the physical body. Now, many people end their attempts right there. They apply certain physical disciplines of exercise and diet and so forth, and that's it. They go no further. But what would it take to apply the double Virgo energy to the other part of Vulcan? Vulcan rules the etheric physical, but definitely the etheric part as well, and is controlling the fiery devas called the Agni Chaitans in their lower demonstration. They also have a higher cosmic etheric demonstration. What can we do, each of us, to render the etheric body more responsive, more healthy, more vibrant, more directive of the processes of the physical body, We have to be very judicious here, because if we become overly zealous, the protective webs of the etheric body will be destroyed, and we will become victims of the lower subplanes of the astral plane, a very unwanted thing. But what would you do in your own case to apply the double Virgo energy as the seed? We're dropping seeds here, the seed of a better condition. And I think we would find that clean air and the free breath and the use of water and the use of certain foods and the avoiding of other foods, although one cannot become too fanatical about that, but those things definitely help. DK, later in the book, Letters on Occult Meditation, he tells us what the diet should be for the one who seeks initiation. And also, this is found in Rule 6 for applicants to initiation in the book Initiation, Human and Solar. In the seventh ray age, now Virgo does not give us the seventh ray in this solar system, but in the previous solar system, it's pretty obvious that the third and seventh ray ruled that sign, because it ruled the entire second half of the previous major solar system, and people carry that foundation with them. So it has much to do with the birth of the Christ and the long gestation period leading to that birth, which should be carried out under spiritual conditions, which Virgo can provide. Now, maybe the most difficult of all in our particular solar system and in our still personality-centered planet is to apply the double Virgo emphasis to the purification of the emotional body. Especially, we're not concerned with the lower two subplanes, 6 and 7. Matter of fact, we should not have matter of the 6th and 7th subplanes in our astral body. But the work of clairaudience and psychometry and clairvoyance, imagination, and emotional idealism, how would you apply the double emphasis in your case? Where is it that, if at all, your emotional vehicle needs purification? How would you go about it? You know, within the magnetism of the astral body are many, I want to call them adhesions. They don't belong attached to the energies that are there. They have to be noted and eliminated. And they have to be subject to the inner Christ. So Virgo, which brings in at this time more of the second ray than any of the three major signs of the ray triangle, will help us apply the Christ energy to the astral body. And instead of the emotional violence and reactivity, we will have something far more rational, controlled by the Son of Mind and by the Christ principle in general. So this lends itself to emotional control. And we learn to sacrifice desire on the altar of love, wisdom. Now, a sign, or at least a vehicle, very connected with Virgo is the lower concrete mind also. And there are mental disciplines to help us think rationally. Remember that Mercury, the planet of first rational thought and then intuitive thought, is the exalted planet in Virgo. And clarity of mind is so important. Under Virgo, it can be achieved, this double influence to manifest clarity of mind. Logically, rationally, reasonably, what would it take for you, for me, to produce this clarity of mind? I mean, I suppose we do see the need for it, don't we? And when we read Master DK in all of his meticulous presentations so often, we understand this way that Virgo contributes to the meticulous understanding of the second ray, wholeness and meticulous entirety. At least to be clear, we can call this eventually mental polarization. At first, it's pretty much mental focus, which is not quite mental polarization, which occurs later between the second and third initiations. But it is possible to have a clear, rational mind, well stocked with pertinent detail. And Alice Bailey advises us on the desirability of that condition. Think clearly. To desire cleanly according to the Christ principle. To clean away the adhesions, the blockages in the etheric body which prevent the higher energies from coming through to the physical body, which must be maintained in an unobstructed manner, which means a clean manner. Maybe this is why Virgo is so associated with the health profession. And what is the personality that is the true servant of the soul? What is this king of beasts, the lower lion, which finally acquiesces to be led by the woman, the soul? Can we, each one of us, bring our personality into a state of servitude, service, acquiesce with humility in the service of that which the soul indicates as the right way? The soul indicates what is to be done. Our whole aligned, integrated, cleansed personality is the servant. It is the willing dweller on the threshold, willing to serve as a sub-ray of the soul ray. Have we brought our personality to that point of the willing servant of the soul? And if not, what is required of us? because then we can become a real disciple, mentally focused and eventually mentally polarized. And we will we will remove ourselves from kama manas and be able to use the vehicles independently of each other. And then we will have a personality which is in shape. And finally, Virgo is the higher mind, the son of mind. It represents the siddhis, the powers of the three higher subplanes of mind. But of course, even then, it is the servant, always looking with idealism towards something higher, even towards its rulership of the monadic plane one day. And so the discrimination enters, and the soul consciousness discriminates under Virgo. What is its role? What is the role of this unit of consciousness on the higher mental plane and beyond? And how can we magically, white magically, bring the lower mechanism into alignment which the discrimination of soul consciousness has made? And so the higher mind can be strengthened here, and Mercury can take a step beyond its normal concrete-minded use into the unity of mind, the higher mind, and then, of course, on to the abstract mind, the transcendental mind, the nirvanic mind. But perhaps by the time we reach the monadic plane, there's been an absorption of Mercury into Jupiter, which rules the monad. And the result of it all, when we make practical what Virgo can give us, will be Christ in you, the hope of glory. It will be minimally the third initiation, and beyond, Christ in you, the hope of glory. And the glorification will occur because there has been so much work. This is the great work sign we know, along with Capricorn and the earth signs in general, but particularly Virgo and Capricorn, because there has been so much work on making the dweller on the threshold, the advanced personality, integrated, cleansed, purified, on making that personality fit as an instrument of the soul located in the realm of higher mind. And I think we receive at this time, because Virgo rules the plane of the monad, there is a special connection with monadic energy. Under Jupiter, under Neptune, the monad has descended and yet stayed at home to serve and to save. The monad is a lord of ceaseless and persevering devotion. And we'll recognize the devotional element in Virgo as it seeks to bring to birth the higher being on the physical plane. Finally, the birth of the Christ on the physical plane. So there is much of the sixth ray here as well as the second, and not just a lower fanatical exclusive sixth ray, but a sixth ray that reaches toward the height of the six-pointed star, the seal of Solomon, or as Manly Hall might say, the seal of solar man. Solomon, solar man. Probably every sign of the zodiac can give us some monadic expression, because the zodiac itself of constellations is the heart in the head center of the great supercosmic logos we call the one about whom naught may be said, in which our solar system and its six companion solar systems of a major kind are a chakra, the seven solar systems of which ours is one, being a petal in the head, heart in the head center of the still greater logos, the supercosmic logos, and our sun, our solar logos, being a great heart in the cosmic logos. So this second ray of Virgo really has a chance to express. And very much now in this fifth or second major solar system. So if we want to learn what it is to bring onto the physical plane the individual internal Christ, this is the time to do it. There are times and times, and as we learn more and more of the science of cycles, we will learn how to time our actions, our thoughts, our meditations, our invocations to the right moment in the cycle. So we bring in the monad and shambolic purpose as much as we can grasp it. And we know that at the present moment, it is the will to good and the will to love. There are many kinds of will, but to do the good and to love our planet, the plan, our fellow human beings, and the kingdoms of nature, this is what Virgo can bring. The lesser kingdoms, they're all ruled by Virgo in a certain sense because they are the microcosm to the human macrocosm. And so we have to live according to the higher side of Virgo. Yes, we take the pains and we deal with many little things. Of course we do. If the smallest grain of sand, according to Master Moria, can stop the largest wheel, then we better get that sand out of the wheel so that the gears can turn. Yes, but at the same time, the great Christ principle, the individual Christ, the triadic Christ, the monadic Christ, and the Christ principle beyond what might be called individual, all these have to be cultivated. We can remind ourselves at this impress of Shamballa. Why Shamballa and the first ray? Because, you know, the first ray is responsible for making the vehicle through which the higher powers can express and to seeing to its strength. The first ray ashram has much to do with rendering the vehicles strong and capable of carrying the higher energies. We well realize that some vehicles are not capable of that. And overstimulation and agitation and disorganization are the result. So this monadic power coming from Shamballa, through the power of Kriya Shakti, which is the materializing of the ideal, this siddhi, this power found on the monadic plane is most important. That's what the masters do when they create a Maya Virupa. They use Virgo. They materialize the ideal until it becomes a faithful instrument pretty much on the replica of the vehicle in which they took the fifth initiation. Shamballa, a world of pure energy, of light and of directed force. It can be seen as streams and centers of force, all forming a pattern of consummate beauty. Remember, the second ray, the second subplane, the monad, the second ray, the ray of the divine pattern, the combination of the first and second ray together, a pattern of consummate beauty, a real archetypal world, all potently invocative of the world of the soul and of the world of phenomena, which we are trying to align with the world of the soul. It therefore constitutes, in a very real sense, the world of causes and of initiation. And here at this Virgo time, there is a synthesis of father, mother, and son, or child. I am the mother and the child. I, God, I matter am. And that can be proven. You know how it is with Virgo. They demand proof. They must submit to rationality that which is said to be true. So we can become known for our ability to carry the spiritual teaching rationally, logically, clearly to others, so that they are persuaded to try something beyond childish gullibility and acceptance of dogma, even dogma that has been forged and is not original. As HPB with her powerful Mars, Mercury, and Virgo points out. We can represent with something approaching pure reason, a type of pure reason of the abstract mental plane, a type of higher pure reason of the intuitive level. We can represent with both types of pure reason something that will lift human mentality. Purify the emotions and make it possible to act in a way that brings these higher factors through. And maybe even in some small sense to serve Shamballa. So during the coming days, we can think about the purification and practicality of Virgo and try to bring through on all levels of the personality that which it can carry of the higher impulses. Now we're getting close to the time of the new moon in Virgo. And I think silence is best as we ponder how to use this impactful, new moon energy in a way that really makes a difference on the outer plane. We know, there's so much corruption in the world at the moment. Virgo helps with that, to clarify that and not allow that. The Christ cannot come until the general house cleaning occurs in politics, in the church particularly, and in politics particularly. And we have to approach the problem of sharing, the problem of peace, with humility and not with arrogance. So we're just about 8 minutes away, 7 minutes, and I'll sound the Om when we reach the new moon moment, and we can think about how we choose to use the double Virgo impact at this time to improve the manifestation of the plan on the personal level. And I'll just, I'll use a reference point here, which is the United States, if I can, here it is. So let's see if I can make this happen. Not so easy. I think I may just have to let you know when it happens. We have 6 minutes or so. Here it is. And when it says 2:03 or 2 and 3 seconds, we'll be there. So let's have our quiet time. Om. 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 So let us carry on through under this influence, making ourselves better disciples, more effective in our service by applying this double influence of Virgo, which reaches all the way up to the monadic level and allows us gradually to materialize the ideal, Kriya Shakti, that will result one day in the creation of a Maya Virupa. Not yet, because many points of service have to be enacted before that is possible. That's the only way to ascend through the power of initiation and to give one's all as the developed and acquiescent dweller to the higher energies. Then initiation will be achieved. But let's remember that big changes on the outer plane have to occur, and that causally they result from etheric, emotional, mental, higher mental, triadal, and monadic impulses. And so we learn to put first things first and to work with essential factors and in general to help the soul of humanity emerge through the soul of our nation, our community, our groups, and our own individual radiation. We are responsible on every level for that. Now, this evening at 6 o'clock, we will have another webinar, and there it's for the Esoteric United Nations, and at least in the beginning work that we're doing, everybody is welcome, and then eventually you'll be required to take a pledge to really stick with it until the next new group of World Servers Festival. We have a lot of work to do until that moment. The big conclave, the great conclave, will occur, and of course some of the effect of that will show up at the festival in Capricorn 2026. So let's make these real subjective esoteric energies effective in our life and do our best to use whatever occult training we've had to finally evoke the higher energies we need right here on the physical plane. We'll close with the sounding of the great invocation. It's the keynote for the new culture, the new civilization, and our most powerful instrument in preparing for the reappearance of the Christ, who will come when the sharing is adequate, when the peace is adequate, and when the corruption has been at least sufficiently defeated. And this will be available to you on Makara as soon as we can manage. So the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. from the center which we call the race of men. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. I want to thank you all on behalf of the Mori Federation, the Seven Ray Institute, the University of the Seven Rays, the Blue Rose Sisterhood, the Northern Light Society, many of our affiliated and amalgamated groups, and especially the communications team, which strives to bring you these broadcasts and webinars. I think you have been sent the link for tonight's Zoom EUN meeting. And you are most welcome to participate in these early days, and then later, when everybody has had a chance to decide whether they would like to really, be serious about it, then the meetings will be for those who have taken that pledge to persist in the evocation of humanity's soul and of the soul of nations. So it'll be another, let's see, 14, it'll be 2, 4, it'll be another 7 hours or so, and we'll be meeting for the EUN, Esoteric United Nations. Meanwhile, do your best to bring the Virgo energy forward and make it practical in your lives, as is the theme at the time of the new moon. Lots of love from all of us and many blessings. And I will stop the recording and we'll send it out to you, and Michael will end the program. So here first is the stopping of the recording. All the best.